Good morning, thanks for clicking on the video. So in my last video, I had just cleaned the aviary for the fall breeding season and set up a couple of half-open nest boxes, a couple of other nest sites, and did some messing around in the aviary in preparation for breeding these guys. You will hear a lot of quail finches in this video. This is a male. You can see his brood patch is ready to go. And so I added burlap. I cleaned the aviary because you can't mess with these guys once they start nesting, and so forth. So that was in the past video. What happened was a little unexpected, and that is one of my other species, Forbes parrot finches, were the first to start collecting material. It's a young male, and I thought I would set up the camera, videotape what was going on at the nest site, and just maybe make some observations about what I see happening with the different species that are captured in the video. So anyway, that's what this one's about. And if that sounds interesting to you, follow the debris pile up to the nest site, and we'll see what they're up to. So I've just put up a half-open nest box. The black cheeks are ever curious, as always, and Molly and Paul, the Forbes, have sort of laid claim to it, I think. Judging from the debris, I think he's dropping most of it and hasn't started actually building, but we'll see. He is a young male. He came to live with me earlier this summer. He's less than a year old. His partner is, I think, at least 7, or getting close to 7, I should say. The female Forbes has the orange band, and the male has the blue band. So you can kind of tell who's who. When you see them side by side, it's very obvious the female is a lighter, paler blue, not as intense. But it can be a little bit hard when you're new to the species to tell them apart. This is one of my experienced black-cheeked wax-billed males. He knows enough not to approach it when Molly's in residence, but pretty curious about it. He has the yellow band, and then in the foliage is his partner. She has yellow and purple bands, and on the right is one of their chicks, is about a year old or so. They normally don't nest in these nest boxes, although they will take them. I just haven't put up any of the other sort of reed ball that I normally use, and that's what they would normally choose if they could. You'll hear here in a second, I'm still futzing around in the aviary, hanging up the reed balls now, and I don't know, talking to the birds. So I forgot that the camera was running, actually. My greenback twin spots never use nest sites like this, but they are an interesting bird. They're both shy and curious. The black-cheeked waxbills are like lavender waxbills. They're curious and bold. So he's just checking it out. Now I also have 2 pairs of gold-breasted waxbills in the aviary, and you'll see in a second here the 2 females come to check out this nest site. My gold-breasted are typically very bad nest builders, and they sort of prefer to take over a corner of somebody else's work. Although they will build inside of a half-open box like this. They like platforms to build on, probably because they're pretty bad at building. And so they would take a nest site like this if they could, but what they would probably prefer, or what they often do, is when other species build a dome nest, like a lavender finch or something, they'll kind of find a back entrance and into the top of it and build a little hollow in the top of the nest, almost like a cock's nest, and then they'll use that. This is the first sign of one of the male gold-breasted waxbills. Now, these guys are fierce defenders of their nest site, and I noticed that nobody's messing with them. Now, if the Forbes had definitely picked this site, they would not hesitate to boot everybody out. But that makes me feel like Paul was collecting nesting material and just more displaying with it than actually building in the previous video. Okay, so there's Molly again. You can see the pecking order. She wins. She's the queen of the aviary. And that's the male. So he's going to do something interesting here. You notice he doesn't displace the two female gold-breasted waxbills, but watch when the orange cheek waxbill shows up, and you'll see how he makes it move. That's deliberate when they do that. So he's displacing that bird, and it's not really aggressive, it's just assertive, kind of clearing the area around the nest of birds that he's worried about. Okay, the rest of the video covers the duration of about an hour and a half until I ran out of battery. I haven't actually looked at the footage at all, so I'm not exactly sure, if this is going to stop in about 2 minutes or what, but I'll just clip it when I see something interesting, and if there's something I think I might, be able to add by doing the voiceover, I'll do that. Otherwise, you can just watch the birds. So this is kind of interesting. You can tell Molly's futzing around inside the nest box. The young male knows to bring nesting material, but he doesn't know quite what to do with it. I love how he makes a loop out of it, by the way. You see that a lot. He doesn't know to bring it to her so she can, incorporate it. So usually the experienced males are just like robots. They just bring material as fast as they can bring it. So he isn't quite sure what to do. So he's now dropped it somewhere, hence the debris piles everywhere. It's also possible that he's just a little overwhelmed by all the attention that the nest site is getting, so not quite sure whether it's theirs or not. You can hear I'm still messing around in the aviary, so maybe he's being cautious in not exposing where the nest site is while I'm in there. Possibly. That's another explanation. All right. Molly looks like she's waiting for material, so he comes back with stuff. She goes into the nest. I think that's just because he's inexperienced. He doesn't really have a good plan for how to deliver the nesting material. So that's pretty typical. That was good. Yep, and then he beelines right back down to the pile of nesting material. So looks like, yeah, it's pretty typical now, and he should start to get a pretty tight rhythm going, bringing nesting material. Molly's futzing away. There's not much material in there, if any, maybe just that little bit that he's brought. Forbes do not build a tunnel entrance. They do have sort of a closed entry to the nest chamber. And he's got a piece of bark, I can see, along with some burlap. Huh. Oh, you know what? I think he's building next to this, and she wants to build inside. That was really typical of Molly and Peter as well. They would fight over nest site. They would never agree for a long time, and then eventually, like, she would win. Looks like he's trying a different approach angle to getting into the box. Yeah, nope, doesn't work. So this is almost real time now. He's got the technique, and I'm skipping just a little tiny bit of time while he's picking out nesting material. I can't remember if I mentioned, but the battery ran out after an hour and a half. So I'm just kind of highlighting the epic deliveries more than anything, and if anything else interesting is happening. I just love to watch this process. But this, you can guess where this is headed. So at this point, you may not be that interested as I am. When the birds are building in the reed balls, I have a much better view of what's going on, at least for a while. Once they start building the dome, I have no clue how they're arranging in there. It's interesting to see the male getting a little bit more confident about building the nest when the other birds are sort of investigating. So that's cool. He has a new process going directly to the perch instead of going to the top of the box and then in. Let's see if he keeps that up now. More efficient. Yes. Isn't that cool to watch him learn how to do it? I think that's so cool. It's got to be so discouraging. It's getting better at it though. So you can see at this point, it's almost looking like they're building that entrance tube, but it's just the junk that's going to ultimately make more of a closed entry, a round entry. But look at the black cheek waxbills. They do build an entrance. I think I mentioned that already. And they're like, hey, wait a second. That's very compelling to us. They really want to know what's going on. Looks just like something they would do. Well, that was fun to see, this young male building his first nest and getting better and better at delivering material as each delivery went on. So that was kind of cool to see. And if he's not overwhelmed by what's going on, these guys are probably going to make him a little bit crazy. But we'll see if they settle down once they, complete the nest building process. So we'll see what happens. I'm a little bit nervous about letting this continue and letting Molly lay eggs if that's where this is headed. But at the same time, I haven't bred Forbes for quite a while now, maybe 4 years or so. And yeah, I have to think hard about that because my focus really is on some of the other species. But anyway, it's Molly, she gets to do what she wants to do. So anyway, thanks for watching.